Yo, what's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, we got a major Lonzo Ball injury update where he says his knee is at 70%. And then on the second half of today's show, we have a wild Bulls and Grizzlies NBA draft trade idea that could help spark the rebuild in Chicago. We'll be diving into that here in a second. But let's start off with getting some good vibes going on today's show. And if you guys want Lonzo Ball to play next season, all you have to do is like the video, get that good mojo out there in the universe, because nothing would make me happier than seeing Lonzo rocking that Bulls red jersey yet again next season. So if you guys would too, just drop a like on today's show. So the injury update we got around Lonzo Ball actually came from Lonzo Ball himself. He did just drop a new podcast with himself, his brother, and a couple of their buddies where he said this: it's improving. So that's all I can ask for. Still not where I want it to be. Out of 100, I'd say I'm at about 70. Good enough to play, but it could still get better. And I love to hear that, because nothing would make me happier than to see a Lonzo Ball return for the Chicago Bulls. I mean, everything he has gone through throughout his NBA career, with his dad, LeVar, putting a major target on his back once he entered the league, and him overcoming that and just improving his three-point jumper. I just think it speaks to the work ethic and just overall character that Lonzo has. So, nothing would make me happier to see him back there on a basketball court. So I thought that was great news to hear that he is at 70% healthy. But we can go back and look at how special he was in his first 35 games, and actually his only 35 games with the Bulls, where he had the Bulls at the top of the Eastern Conference, where he just impacted winning at the highest level, averaging 13 a night, 5.4 boards, 5.1 assists, and the efficiency was incredible. 42.3% from the field, and the three-point shooting also at 42.3%. He was able to really knock it in from downtown that season. And just overall, his play in transition, getting the ball up to Levine and DeMar on the fast break was just awesome that year. And could you imagine a Bulls guard kind of trifecta of Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, and Lonzo Ball? I mean, that would just be one of the more, complete backcourts I think we would see in the NBA, since we did see the development of Ayo taking that jump, of Kobe White taking that jump to almost being a 20-point-a-game guy this past season. And also, they're all pretty damn young. Ayo 24, Kobe White 24, and Lonzo still only 26 years old. Keep that in mind. Lonzo is only 26. I was actually shocked when I was looking that up, making today's video. I thought he would be damn near pushing 30 at this point, but he still has a lot of years left in his playing career, hopefully. But we also got this report a couple of weeks ago from Casey Johnson, a longtime Bulls beat reporter, who said this around Lonzo playing next season. He said, there's growing buzz from some who talk to Ball that he'll play next season. Also, as stated in my last answer, that optimism needs to be measured against the fact that he hasn't started taking contact or playing 5-on-5. Everyone associated with the Bulls is rooting for Ball. He also carried on to say, and the Bulls have to give him one more chance unless they trade him. And there's a very little interest in his contract when it was included in some preliminary talks leading up to the trade deadline, mostly as part of larger packages. And as we do know, Lonzo did opt in to his contract, so he will be making $21 million next season. And my take on Lonzo Ball, of him coming back to the NBA, obviously he won't be the same guy physically. Like, that is just, physically impossible to expect that from him. But I still think he's going to be able to impact winning on a very high level. I think he's a very cerebral basketball player. He's been playing winning ball his entire life, dating back to his days at Chino Hills, them winning state titles there, going to UCLA, winning games, pretty at a high percentage during his freshman season there, going on a run during March Madness. And then once he got to the Chicago Bulls, that was the last time the Bulls really saw success, was when Lonzo Ball was on the basketball court. So I'm not expecting to see the guy who is dominating the Eastern Conference back in 2021, but I am still expecting to see a really, high-impact winning player when he does come back, just because of what's up here with Lonzo Ball. But let me know. I want you guys to predict it for me down below in the comment section. Will Lonzo Ball play basketball next season? Give me a Y for yes or an M for no. I'll be probably typing my Y's, just because Lonzo came out there and pretty much said if he had to play right now, he could, which is just, obviously great news, but, stuff can change. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Will Lonzo play next season? So we are going to be diving into this trade idea around the corner, where it had the Bulls receiving Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, and the number 9 pick in the 2024 NBA draft. And the Bulls are giving up 2 key players, DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. I'll give you guys my thoughts on this trade here in a second. But first off, I want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys download the Prize Picks app and use promo code CLNS, we're going to match your first deposit up to $100. With the NBA playoffs here and in action, there is no better time to be hooked up with Prize Picks. And if you guys want to add just more juice and a better viewing experience to these games, Prize Picks is the number one way to do so. It's simple. All you do is you choose more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. We actually got action on the hardwood tonight with the Knicks taking on the Indiana Pacers. This was the lineup I'm rolling with. I'm taking the more on Obi Toppin points at 8.5. He's been killing it in this series. And then, in my opinion, the best 6'4" rebounder in NBA history, Josh Hart. I'm going to ride his hot hand of 12.5 rebounds and take the more, but I do think the Indiana Pacers defense will be keyed in on Dante DiVincenzo, so I'm going to take the less on his 22.5 points. But hey, if you guys want to fade my picks or ride with my picks, we just ask you guys do it at Prize Picks. Check them out, prizepicks.com/CLNS, and use promo code CLNS, and we will match your first deposit up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports. So I actually saw this trade idea floated out there on Twitter, and it was this Bulls fan that tweeted this out saying, Bulls fans, how would you feel about this trade where they would be receiving Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, and the number 9 pick, and they would be giving up Vooch and DeMar DeRozan in a sign and trade? And my initial thought when I saw this trade was, if you could somehow move off Vooch in his contract and get a top 10 pick, I don't care what the other kind of assets that you are giving up or what you are receiving, just that at face value. If you are able to move off Vooch and get a top 10 pick, you take it and you run away with it. I think Vooch is I'm not going to call him the worst contract in the NBA, but he is definitely on a short list. And I think it would be huge if the Bulls could move off him. But it also got me thinking this when I saw this trade idea. With the Bulls having the 11th pick, if you were able to get pick number 9, could you possibly move up for a guy like Donovan Clingan? Maybe it's a team like San Antonio Spurs in the top 5. Maybe they just want to have 3 picks in the top 11 with this trade. Or maybe you look at a team like the Detroit Pistons. They could possibly be looking to trade back and just getting more assets. I don't know. That was kind of my first thought process, where if the Bulls really truly have Donovan Clingan as their number 1 draft target, this would be another avenue to get that deal done. But a player the Bulls would be getting in that trade would be Luke Kennard, who, I am actually a bigger fan of Luke Kennard than most. He's an absolute sniper from downtown, hence why he shot 45% from 3 this past season for the Memphis Grizzlies. 11 points in game, 3.5 assists. He is a liability on defense, but I think he fits a archetype of need for this Bulls roster, is having just a true knockdown shooter, which the Bulls do not have right now. And then another player I'm a fan of is Brandon Clark. And, the player comparison I use for a guy like BC is he's a Aaron Gordon type of slasher when he's getting to the rim, really physical when he's putting pressure on the basket. And he actually had a pretty good year this past season for the Grizzlies, even though they have been dealing with a plethora of injuries this past year, averaging 11 points a night, 5.3 boards, and 55% from the deck. But however, in this trade, the Bulls would be giving up DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, DeMar being a free agent this summer, hypothetically, this would be a sign and trade, sending DeMar to Memphis. I think this would be a great deal for Memphis. But, I have no, bad words to say about DeRozan. I think he's been great during his tenure here in Chicago. He's really being that leader in the locker room. And I think the Bulls' kind of lack of success, I am not putting on him at all. I just think it's the overall roster construction. I mean, he damn near carried the team with Kobe White to a playoff appearance this past season with the injuries to Patrick Williams, obviously Lonzo and Zach LaVine. So, DeMar, it would stink giving him up, but, the Bulls need to start this rebuild. Like, it's got to have to happen eventually, and I think trading DeMar DeRozan is a great way to spark that, and plus you're getting a top 10 pick as well. But let me know, Bulls fans, would you do this trade? Give me an A for accept or a D for decline down in the comments section. Would love to know what you guys have to say. I'm taking this trade and I'm running with it. Obviously, you're not getting any big-time players back, but, the ability to move off Vooch, I think would be huge, and you get another top 10 pick. Yes, this would probably mean the Bulls are a worse basketball team next season, but sometimes you have to move backwards to move forwards, and I think this trade, definitely gets that done. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. And as always, guys, make sure you are subscribed here to the Bulls Report. Join our Bulls, report family here, and stay up to date on the latest around your favorite basketball team. So hit that subscribe button and lock us in. And as always, go Bulls.